So, part two of this pig wrestling problem solving series is framing, right? Have you got the right frame around your problem? They say that you almost definitely have the wrong frame if you find yourself pig wrestling a problem and not solving it, right? Now, what I mean by frames, right? So, for example, you're the editor of a magazine, right? And the sales have taken a decline, right? January, let's say they're 100, February they're 90, March they're 80, right? And so you need to turn this around and you frame this as a sales problem, right? What we need to do is increase sales. And you look back to the last good month and it was January, right? And what's the difference between January, February, and March? You start to brainstorm with your team and you identify that there is more nudity on the cover of the January edition than February and March, right? So then you think, okay, for April, let's add in more nudity, right? And look at that, sales increase, right? And then you think, okay, nudity is clearly our key to success. Let's add in more nudity again, right? And quickly, before you know it, you've got yourself a porn magazine, right? That you had framed the problem wrong and that you had framed it as a sales problem, and now you've ventured miles away from what you started as good housekeeping, right? You used to be all about housekeeping tips, and now you're all about nudity, right? Because you framed it as a sales problem, and that was the wrong frame, right? Example number two, right? A movie studio needs their next movie to be a hit, right? And they think that the way to guarantee a hit is to have a big opening day weekend, right? So they spend all their time and effort trying to solve the problem of a big opening day weekend. And what they do is they offer discounts. They offer people who go to see movies a lot a prime prime time to see the movie. They offer them free popcorn. They offer them discounts on the tickets, right? And so it's a huge opening day weekend. The opening day weekend problem is a success, but the greater goal of making the movie a hit is a failure because they spent all their time and effort on trying to solve the opening day weekend problem and didn't even consider the aftermath of that. They didn't even consider that those who go to see a movie on the opening day, they are the early adopters, right? And they play a vital role in the community and they have a status, and it's their word of mouth that usually determines whether a movie goes through the whole cycle of the idea adoption curve, whether it crosses the chasm. And so the real problem they should have been trying to solve was how do we delight the early adopters so that they tell the rest and the later majority go to see the movie. So they framed the problem wrong and so they didn't get their goal. Number three, right? You want to become a good writer, right? And now, what's the sign of a good writer? You think, right? Well, I got to get published. So you frame it in a frame of getting published, right? But so in your pursuit of this getting published goal, you have to jump through all these hoops, right? And you have to make all these compromises. And although you have been published, it is nothing like the project that you started. It resembles nothing to the initial manuscript that you did. You're not proud of it at all. And so you don't feel like you're a good writer. And people say, they give you their honest feedback on your book, and you kind of squirm at the criticism because that wasn't the book that you wanted to write, and you don't feel like a good writer, right? And so uh, you framed it wrong, right? You framed it as getting published equals good writer rather than simply starting to become a good writer and doing writing that you're proud of. So I hope that helps. That's part two of the series, pig wrestling, problem solving. I hope that helps. Framing. Be careful of how you frame the problem.